Hello, so this is the video of basically going over all the M113s, what kind of maintenance for them looks like, and what their common issues are and what aren't. The car I'm showing you today is on the 2002 CLK 55 AMG. That's the 5.4 liter naturally aspirated, but any M113 it's exactly the same way, and even most M112s, although they might have some differences. But for example, back there, it's an ML55. Same thing applies to that. A W211 E500, same thing applies to that. Everything's the same. There's one difference that I will show you, because first things first is the oil cooler. The oil cooler, which is this thing right here, is the only thing that's different between different chassis and different engines and all that. The E500 W211 does not have the oil cooler. So actually I have a water pump right here to kind of show you. Here, M113 water pump. The ones with the oil cooler have this thing right here. That goes to the oil cooler. If I showed you on the ML, we would have had more space, but oh well. You see, down there, this second one down there, that comes from the water pump. Water comes through here, and then out it goes into the timing cover. There are two seals between this and the oil cooler seal that go bad. There's also, because this is an oil cooler model, the cup, or like the housing that houses the oil filter, is removable via a 46 millimeter nut all the way down there. When you remove the filter, you see it. The big seal down there leaks, and that leaks a lot when it does leak. And it will leak all over the front timing components in your belt, and it'll make the front of your engine look like an absolute mess. So that one's important to change out. On the ones like the E500 W211, it doesn't have that. So you don't actually have to worry about that thing right there, which is good. That's one less thing you have to worry about. Now then, in terms of oil leaks, common oil leaks are the valve cover. Let me see if I can just manipulate this light so you can see a little bit easier. There you go. So, valve cover leaks. The valve cover goes across this entire thing here, and down there. That leaks a lot. What also leaks a lot is the breathers. So the breather covers. Man, I really wish I had a light that wasn't this gigantic thing. But I just kind of, this thing will just stay, which it really doesn't want to. Oh, come on. There we go. So, breathers leak a lot, and when they leak, they will leak everywhere. They'll leak, very importantly, all into the coil packs, and the coil packs will start cracking from underneath. They'll crack. They'll form cracks, and that's how the coil packs on these things actually fail. If the trunk decides to work, I do have an example of a coil pack here somewhere. Ah, here it is. And I don't know, this might be an extra one I have. This is an M113 coil pack. Each little box here is for one of the spark plugs, because it's dual spark plug per cylinder. And you'll start to form cracks. I believe this one's forming right here. And it'll take a while for it to actually completely fail and set a code. but they'll start to crack, and the oil's kind of why, along with the heat that makes the plastic brittle. So the thing is, when you want to reseal the breather covers, that's with the Mercedes RTV. You'd have to, in order to reseal them, it's a very good idea to do the valve cover and the PCV and the breather covers all at the same time. I can kind of show you right here. It's the same story here. You see this one's leaking. The reason why I'm showing you on this car is because on the ML I actually fixed it, and you can see it's kind of leaking here, and it'll leak from here. So in terms of the PCV hoses, that's one of the PCV hoses. That's another PCV hose, and that was another PCV hose. And they all lead to different places. So this big PCV hose, God, this isn't really my best work. This PCV hose goes to an elbow, the air intake elbow. So you have this mass airflow sensor. Right below it is an elbow, an L-shaped elbow. And there's a seal between this, like the top part of the elbow, and the elbow that actually goes into the intake manifold. Those two seals get rock hard and brittle and you should replace them. But this one goes to the elbow. That one right there goes to the elbow. This one goes to, along with that one over there, goes to a little thing right there. There's a little junction box thing. I don't know if, I honestly don't really know how I can show you this without disassembling my car. So I'm sorry for bad camera work, but it's much easier to see in person. There's a little junction box down there, which there's two ports on the intake manifold that it sits on, and then this goes in there and that goes in there. So what doing valve covers and breathers on this thing looks like, disconnect all the coil packs, unscrew them, and disconnect the coil wires from the coil pack. So you can get the coil packs out, get this out. In 99% of M113 applications, you have to disconnect the fuel line that goes to the fuel rail. And once you disconnect these will be rock hard. They will be brittle and they will crack if you try and take them out. Which is why you need to at least order the hoses. But you take all the hoses out too, then you can undo everything, pull it out, and then once you actually have the valve cover out, that's a great opportunity to take off the breathers and reseal the breathers. Of course, after you can wash the thing too. So and cleaning up the old RTV is a bit of a hassle. There's no really good way to do it. You just kind of go with a screwdriver and work your way around everything. But once you reseal that with RTV, and for both of them, and then you can put on the new valve covers, valve cover gaskets, put on the valve covers, you can assemble everything. In terms of doing that junction box in the center there, you have to take off the mass airflow sensor, and this bracket kind of is keeping it there. And then you could be able to access that. At the same time, I do the two seals on that little elbow down there. But that's basically it. That's already like more than 90% of the maintenance that most people do on these engines. Oops, my bad. In terms of wherever else oil leaks from, that's really the only places this thing will leak from, other than the oil cooler if you got it. The front crank is not as common, but it does sometimes leak. I've seen them leak. And the rear main seal will always like start seeping, but it'll never get bad enough where you actually want to take the transmission out and fix it. What's also most common for burning oil is the, what do you call them? The valve seals. The valve seals. So the seals that go around the valves that prevent oil from going past them. That's how M113s will start burning oil, and they can start burning oil pretty badly. I've seen some people. I have one friend who's a Ford dude. He thought the rings were fucked because I guess that's a common Ford thing. But no, if you replace the valve seals, this thing won't burn a speck of oil anymore. What else? What else? What else? Be careful with the teeny tiny little hoses on the for the front for the on the front for the variable intake. They can be pretty brittle sometimes. But that's basically it. In terms of throttle position sensor, I believe on the W211 it's on the actual pedal itself. On the ML and this thing, it's via this thing. So on the older cars, they have a pedal which is connected to a cable. Then the cable comes to the engine bay, and then it gets converted to an electrical signal over here. Yeah, that's pretty much it, honestly. There's not really much else to do on this engine. Spark plugs are important on this engine because even when it's running on, I've had problems where, like on a coil, like one of the little box, where is it? I've had it where like one of these failed, but the other one doesn't. The engine will still run pretty rough with just one spark plug, because I don't know if you ever looked at the head of an M113. It's all the way at the side. It's on both sides. So if only one's running, it's not going to have a good clean burn. EGR is also a big thing on M113s. It is really easy to replace, to be fair. This bolt right here, which is kind of hard to get to, but if you have tools for it, you can get to it without having to take off the fuel rail. And there's the one bolt there, and then just the tube. It's actually really easy to get to, and for a kit that's like $150 an FCP Euro, you can eliminate that whole headache. Yeah, I guess that really does it for this video. As I said, yeah, just the main takeaway, do the breathers and the valve covers at the same time, and then you're going to end up doing the PCV anyway. So, because when you take the valves, the breathers apart, you can like clean the little hole. I've had some people increase the diameter of the hole with a drill. I haven't really done that myself. I don't think you need to. I don't know what the risks of doing that would be, but I've heard some people do it. I assume maybe that it works out for them. So you can try and do that too if you want. But it is correct that when most people don't do their PCV, it does blow out the valve covers faster. That is a thing. But yeah, that's basically it. Oh, you have an E500. If you have an E500, it does not come with a dipstick. Well, a dipstick from any other M113 will work. Like an ML dipstick that had an M113, or a CLK for that matter. The dipsticks will work. So that's pretty cool. You don't have to use the computer to check the oil level, which is kind of a hassle. But yeah, that's basically it. Most M113s in my life, I've always done the water pump and the thermostat. I've just kind of always done that. Don't forget power steering fluid, and the reservoir itself has a filter inside it. And on 99% of these cars, the filter is torn, which kind of wrecks the pumps. So definitely do the filter housing at the very least, and change the filter. I always do that. But yeah, that's basically it. As far as maintenance goes for other stuff, it's pretty simple. And I just realized that I need a belt. Wow, I need a belt. Crazy. I guess I'll have to get to that. But yeah, see, yeah, it's wet down here and it's wet all the way down there. That's because of the breathers. The valve covers and breathers can get leaking extremely badly. So that's basically it. So yeah.